What's up everybody, Mr. Money1235 back here yet again to bring you my top 15 favorite rock albums of all time. Now we all know that rock music is made up of multiple subgenres: rock music, pop punk, hard rock, heavy metal, hardcore, magnesium, phosphorus, sulfur, fucking salt. The whole goddamn periodic table is in this shit. But I've decided to just throw all of that out the window and just present to you guys my favorite rock albums of all time, no matter what their subgenre. I'm talking about the albums that personally make me go, yeah, rock hands up! So let's start off with number 15. Guns N' Roses' Appetite for Destruction. Now I can hear what you're thinking from here. How could you rank this so low? Well, I have my reasons. First off, let me just say I love this album. It's a classic in its own right, and it's packed with some of the band's biggest singles. Welcome to the Jungle, Paradise City, Sweet Child of Mine, they're all here. And it's in my highest opinion that some of the deep cuts on this album deserve a whole lot more attention than they actually get. It's So Easy, Out to Get Me, Night Train, and Mr. Brownstone could all do really well on commercial rock radio. The only main gripe that I personally have with this group is the vocalist himself, Axl Rose. It's no mystery that Axl Rose has one of the most memorable vocals in rock music history, but for me personally, I can't take too much of it without feeling like I should be listening to something else. There's just some artists on this list where I can listen to their vocals a little bit easier than I can Axl Rose's. This album also suffers from a case of I think some songs are better than others, but you know, I can't discount the album for that, as it is a classic and it is one that I enjoy listening to from time to time. And on that note, we're going to move on to number 14 on this countdown. The Reverend Horton Heat. Smoke 'em if you got 'em. It's a psychobilly freakout! Seriously, rockabilly music is kick-ass, and this band just takes it and cranks it up to 11. As soon as you hear the first instrumental opening track to this album, Bullet, you know you're in for one hell of a ride. These songs also present kind of a punk-style attitude without being punk music per se. And plus, who can forget how fun it was to play the main single from this album on Guitar Hero, the first game, Psychobilly Freakout. Such awesome sauce. Number 13 is El Camino by the Black Keys. I can hear some of you guys laughing from here, but I'm gonna be honest, I love this album and it's really underrated in my opinion. The faster, more on-edge music that the Black Keys present on this album just make for a really fun listening experience from time to time. People say that Danger Mouse ruined the Black Keys when he started producing in their albums, and in some cases I can totally agree. But I really think the Black Keys found a really cool sound on this album, and I really enjoy it. It's just a personal guilty favorite of mine. Number 12 is Aerosmith, Toys in the Attic. I had a really hard time debating on which album to put on this list from Aerosmith, either Aerosmith's first album or Toys in the Attic. The first Aerosmith album was filled with nothing but guitars, drums, bass, and vocals. It was just a straight up rock album, and it was awesome for it. This album also contains the same type of instrumentation, but includes the song Sweet Emotion, which automatically puts it on this list apart from the first album. It's a song that really defines the sounds of the 70s for me, and I love that for it. Tons of great songs on this album just hit that nerve for me that's just so engrossing. The track 10-inch record on this album also has like a big band sound to it, and I love it! This album is a classic in its own right, and is definitely one of Aerosmith's best. You should really check it out if you haven't. Number 11 is Pressure in Time by Rival Sons. This is a really underrated band that I don't think got much attention when this album came out. It's a fun yet short rock record that just had me strutting down the street to the sounds of the title track. Rival Sons is also a band that wears their influences right on their sleeve, and they're very blatant about it, but I still can't help but love it. Mixing in the vocal styles of Led Zeppelin while also incorporating rock riffs reminiscent of classic rock and old blues music make for a really cool album. In my opinion, this album is kind of like a classic rock album for a new generation, and I hope more bands come along that can kind of take that sound even further. And for that exact reason, it makes this list. Number 10 is Them Crooked Vultures, a modern-day hard rock supergroup that should be noticed by everyone. With Dave Grohl on drums, John Paul Jones of Led Zeppelin on bass, and Josh Homme of Queens of the Stone Age on vocals, you know it was gonna kick ass. Honestly, how could it fail? This band is primarily a hard rock outfit, mixing in very few electronics with their music, which made it for a very unique album at the time. Not to mention the epic battleships of songs, these really overly long tracks like Elephants that just propel this album and leave you rocking in upwards of 7 minutes at times. This album rocks just so hard, and I love it so much. Please, God, make a sophomore album, you guys. It's in dire need of it. At number 9, we have Queens of the Stone Age, Lullabies to Paralyze. My personal favorite Queens of the Stone Age record. I don't know how I could not include it on this list. The dark mood of this album and the sexual tension of songs like Skin on Skin and Tangled Up in Plaid just make this one of my favorite rock albums of all time. From the slow, somber opening of this lullaby to the sounds of someone in the woods with an axe creeping around in the interlude part of the track, Someone's in the Wolf, it's just so awesome. Not to mention the amazing single Little Sister, the groovy rocker Burn the Witch, and the hard hitting In My Head. It's just an album that blows me away every time I listen to it, and one that stands up nearly 11 years after its release. And it's really getting hard to order this list, by the way. Number 8 is Deep Purple with Machine Head. Deep Purple, Smoke on the Water. The first song anyone learns on guitar. In all honesty though, this album is so much more than its main single. This album deserves a whole lot more attention than it actually gets from the modern day rock music fans. But talking about Deep Purple, I mean, the opening track on this album, Highway Star, is just one of the most memorable hard rock 70s jams of all time. It is so awesome. The lyrics, while simple, serve a great purpose, and the guitar solos on this album are just all over the place. Even after the track Highway Star ends, I mean, this album just sends you on a path of just ear-melting awesomeness. With catchy grooves and amazing riffs, this album deserves a place in any vinyl collector's collection. This album closes on the hard-hitting track Space Truckin', and when it's over, you seriously just want to pick up the needle and start it over again. An amazing album for your classic rock playlist. Number 7, Nirvana with Nevermind. Don't like it? Oh well, whatever, never mind. How could one of the best albums of the 90s that rocked the most flannel shirts not be on this list? You think I'm stupid? Well, bring it on, motherfucker. Polly wants a cracker, suck my ass. Stay, stay away, stay away. At number 6 is Green Day's Dookie. The first huge commercial success of the band Green Day. So many great songs. Just so many great songs. It's so good that I can't even right now. Just, you know, somebody hold me. Seriously, this entire album should just be released as singles. Pulling Teeth is a track that's just as good as Basket Case. Funny lyrics and the melodic punk feel just make this one of the best albums of the 90s and should be in anyone's CD or vinyl collection. I love it so much, whenever I hear the track FOD or the secret track All By Myself, I instantly just get a little bit depressed that it's over. But luckily, you always have that option to hit play again. Getting into the top 5, and I can already hear the sound of pitchforks. At number 5, we have Boston, the self-titled album. I'm gonna be honest, the mid-70s would just not be the same without this album. This track list honestly just contains mostly singles, just like Thriller by Michael Jackson. And it's a flawless album that belongs in anyone's vinyl collection. This album also just begs to be replayed once it's over. More Than a Fill-In, Peace of Mind, Foreplay Long Time, Rock and Roll Band, Smokin', and Hitch a Ride make up the first 6 tracks of this 8-track album. If that's not enough to make you go buy this thing right now, then you're just stupid. Go buy this thing right now. At number 4, we have Led Zeppelin. 1. The self-titled Led Zeppelin album. Ah yes, the first Led Zeppelin album, the Beatles of the 70s. You can call it what you want about the controversy of how Led Zeppelin stole other artists' songs and stuff like that, but I still can't help but love this band. The first album is just such a great mix of standard blues music along with some awesome guitar riffs. The first album is such a great mix of old blues music with awesome guitar riffs and solos. Robert Plant's vocals just put forth an emotion to me that just cannot be matched by many other rock singers. Along with the amazing, ungodly guitar playing of Jimmy Page, you have one of the best bands of all time. And one of the best bands of all time just put out one of the best debut albums of all time in this record. And it still stands, in my personal opinion, one of Led Zeppelin's very best albums. At number 3, American Idiot by Green Day. I can hear you laughing from here. But in all honesty, this is one of the greatest rock albums of the 2000s. Call it what you want, but this album is this high on this list because I firmly believe that we're going to be talking about this album just like I'm talking about all these that came from the 70s. This is an album that's going to be remembered that was released recently. One of the reasons I firmly believe that the Beatles are so rememberable is because the subjects they talk about in their songs are still related to people today. They're timeless. You know what I'm saying? The themes about love and stuff like that have been going on since the beginning of time, and people can still relate to them. Hence, that's why Beatles songs are still so enjoyable. American Idiot right here is a song about teenagers who are struggling to fit into society and stuff like that. This is a problem that's never going to go away no matter how far into the future we look. Hence why I think this album is going to be remembered many, many generations from now. And for that, I have to give it one of the top spots on this list, not to mention just how fucking enjoyable this album is. It's just so much fun to listen to in general. It'll make you jump up and down, it'll make you sing along, you'll even cry to it sometimes. It's just so amazing. Green Day pulled off something that I don't think they'll ever be able to top. But luckily for us, Green Day showed no signs of stopping, and I cannot wait to see what the future holds for this band. I doubt they'll ever top American Idiot, but it's gonna be fun as hell to watch them try. Number 2, Van Halen, the self-titled debut album. Yep, the first Van Halen album. I know most people would consider 1984 as probably the best, but for me personally, this album just surpasses it greatly. Sure, you don't have the song Hot for Teacher, but there's still so many great deep cuts and singles on this album that you won't even care. With amazing singles like Running with the Devil and the amazing guitar solo Eruption, it's mind-blowing how great this rock album is. Seriously, this album is just a flawless, fun rock record that has that, once again, that type of length where it's like long enough to be satisfied but short enough that you just want to start it over again once it ends. The song Little Dreamer on this album definitely deserves more attention, and I wish it was released as a single, honestly. Not to mention the incredible slow track that's half an acoustic intro and then the other half a straight-up rocker in the song Ice Cream Man. It's just a crazy sexual thrill of an album, and it's just amazing, and that's why it makes my number 2 list, just because it's just straight up fucking timeless. It's so cool. I love this record so much. Seriously, I listen to this thing like once a week. Like, I'm listening to the first Van Halen album at least once a week. And now we come to number 1, which might honestly be one of my favorite albums in the classic rock genre. Led Zeppelin 2. Some will say Led Zeppelin 4. And for that, I say no. The singles were great, and so was that album. But I require to be moved, and rocked, and thinking about an album long after it's over. I could honestly say this about a ton of the albums that are on this list, which made it so hard to order. But Led Zeppelin 2 is just... it's something special. From the amazing and classic opening song Whole Lotta Love, to the bass-tastic playing of John Paul Jones on the track Lemon Song, to the sweet and romantic wedding-esque almost song Thank You, to the amazing fast-paced rock of the songs Heartbreaker and Living Loving Maid, to the amazing drum solo on Moby Dick, to the amazing and classic track Ramble On and the harmonica playing of the outro song Bring It On Home, I say thank you, Led Zeppelin, for creating a rock album that built on the sounds of the first album and expanded it into a record that is a staple for any party that I've had in the past few years. I love this album, and you should too. So there you have it, guys. 15 amazing hard rock albums that you should definitely check out if you haven't heard of some of them. Granted, my lists are kind of mainstream, so you've probably heard of all of them. But I hope you had fun nonetheless, and I will see you guys really soon with a new list, new album reviews, and new tomfoolery to just fuck around with. I'll see you guys very soon with a brand new video. Mr. Mooney 1235. Peace.